Champ, it's Monday, 23rd of June in the United States. Jesus Christ. It's Monday, June 23rd in the United States and Canada. This is a show called What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. In the summer, my name is David Bean. I sit beside Pete Blackburn, and over across the room is Sean DePaz. It's because I didn't say summer reps make me feel fine that I fucked up.
I don't think you fucked up. I wouldn't have even called attention to it.
I know. I hold myself to a higher standard, though.
Yeah.
Very European of you.
Yes.
Don't they say the day before the month, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing.
Dave, and you are famously going to Europe this summer.
I am, and I was doing that for Trevor Zegras because he's going to be playing in Europe.
Get ready to learn European.
He's out of the league. Yes, Trevor Zegras is out of the league. That's what's on the show today. How's everybody's summer going so far, Sean?
Pretty good. I watched the Sox game yesterday at a bar. I saw Jaron Duran get absolutely screwed by the umps and then rightfully get ejected. Saw Tyrese Halliburton tear his shit last night. Very, very sad.
Tough.
And then the Thunder win a NBA championship, and SGA not seem to care at all. It was very cool.
Panthers need one of those guys.
It's just a guy.
Actually, they do. I wanted to say, like, my MVP of the I was going to suggest on the show we do like ranking the Panthers celebrators.
Yeah.
My number one by 10 miles is Bob.
I was going to say Bob.
Motherfucker has been reading for all we know.
Well, I haven't seen Seth Jones once. By the way, you didn't acknowledge Penny.
I saw Biz was saying, I think it was Biz, was saying that like Bob next day was working out. He was just getting back to the grind. Also, I haven't seen a lot of Seth Jones.
That's what
I've seen him.
He's
been like at the table.
Lowercase celebrating.
People, he's just like the drunk guy who's kind of there. Sam Reinhart, by far. I know that Marshawn's stealing the show, and we'll talk about that. Sam Reinhart, definitely the drunkest at all times.
I think so, too. We're definitely going to talk about the Panther celebration and some of those grades and behaviors. Very excited about that. Tell you what, summer reps make me feel good, but, man, it's nice to do a job that I love when it's happening, but also love when it's not happening.
Yes, I was still listening to podcasts and stuff when I was in the car, and I was definitely still thinking about hockey, but I was outside for 25 hours on Saturday.
Getting to be outside fucking I got into a little bit of an argument in our all citywide Slack. I don't know if you saw this with people because a couple of Arizona folk were complaining about the heat. And I was like, don't let these motherfuckers, they love to complain about the heat. And then the second that you suggest that like you like seasons or whatever, they're like, oh, it's 70 degrees at Christmas, you fucking losers. No, fuck you. I maintain that if you take a perfect day of Boston weather versus any other city in America's perfect day of weather, I'm taking Boston every single time.
Why
Summer
is
in
that?
Boston rocks.
Just because
we're by water.
Okay.
They're literally going to all die in the next couple of decades because they don't have water. And our city is better in every single way. And yes, I said ours.
Oh, fuck yeah. We got an hour for Sean. Yes.
Every single
Sean
way.
Is a Bostonian.
Getting the first
We have real education system, real history. And I love my people in Arizona. So I don't want this to sound like I'm shitting all over y'all, but I kind of am shitting all over y'all.
The reason that I love like the Northeast is that, and I guess like for like the Midwest too, like a Chicago, is that the seasons are important, but also people appreciate the seasons.
Yes.
Like when there's a nice day in Boston or a nice day in Chicago or like anywhere that has seasons, those people fucking appreciate the nice days, and there's a buzz.
Chicago, when it's really hot, though, sucks.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand the humidity complaint. Like, if you're asking me 90 degrees of dry heat versus 90 degrees of like high humidity, I'm obviously going to take the dry heat. But that's not the conversation. It's 90 degrees in humidity, or like literally 120 fucking degrees in Arizona.
Do you remember when Four Nations, some of the Edmonton boys were like, it feels colder right now in Boston, and I know that temperature-wise it's not as cold, but like this night feels colder than anything we ever feel in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Weather, man. It'll get you.
Boston rocks, though.
But yeah, I went to a pond and just like went out as far as I could go. No looking back. Just get me right into the middle of this fucking thing. And
I was just envisioning you walking into like the
no
ocean,
turning back. Yeah,
being like, take me.
Can I tell you what actually happened? So my beloved's parents have inflatable kayaks, and
that sounds like a nightmare for me.
Yeah. No, they were like, take these.
I don't trust like that.
Go to the pond. And we inflated them. And it was actually quite easy. We inflated them, and I was like, oh, man, I'm going to buy some of these things, and I am going to be in these every day this summer. One of them had a hole in it, so only one of them would
trust like that.
One of them would stay inflated. Like, what's going to happen? We were in a pond.
You're going to drown.
You're going to die because you're in a pond because you do you know how to swim?
But like barely.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
And if I'm going on a pond, I'm probably drinking 97 beers.
Yeah.
Oh,
also
no.
True.
This is a peaceful place where people were being human. But anyway, only got one of them.
I don't like the implication there. I don't like.
And I'm the most peaceful human on the planet.
I'm worried.
I'm one with nature.
How little confidence you have in being able to float, though.
I'm a rock. I sink.
If I was drunk, if I was like
like a
very
mini fridge.
drunk and I like started to panic a little bit, it would be GG's.
Yeah.
Like I am not a strong swimmer. I
mean that is how a lot of people do drown. Like once they start to like
panic.
I'm assuming you have like a panic attack or something while you're trying to swim. Anyway, only one of them would work. I got that thing up, and it was like the devil was chasing me. Because I flew like as fast. I like raced to the middle of that fucking pond and then brain off for hours, and it was the best. It was a bajillion degrees, but damn.
I watched the Ballad of Wallace Island last night. Incredible movie. Highly recommend. There is a insanely funny fake drowning scene that reminded me. So. Watch the Ballad of Wallace Island.
Most drowning scenes in films are fake drowning scenes.
True.
People forget.
True.
People are acting. Pete, tell the folks on the show today.
Today on the show, we will discuss the double champs. The Florida Panthers, their celebration continued, I should say, over the weekend. Basically engulfed the weekend. Couldn't escape it. They were everywhere. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Trevor Zegras. There's a trade potentially imminent, according to Elliotte Friedman. So we're going to talk about where we want to see Trevor Zegras, what that trade could look like, all that fun stuff. Tyler Yaremchuk's going to join the show. And you're thinking, oh boy, more Oilers stuff. Yes, because Connor McDavid had his moment last week where he got behind a microphone and maybe said,
timeout.
We'll see what happens.
You texted this in our group. Nobody's worried about how often everyone's talking about the Oilers. The sheets like last 8 episodes have been about the Oilers.
The Oilers were one of 2 teams remaining playing. I'm launching a pre-offensive on people being like, enough about the Oilers. Shut up. We're going to do a Connor McDavid, talk about whether he's going to get an extension, whether his future is in Edmonton. We will discuss that. And then finally, new looks. The Bruins are releasing their uniforms this weekend or this week on Wednesday. We'll look at that. Talk about it, and that's the show.
Okay, the one thing that you got most wrong on there, and you read most of those correctly, but we're not really going to discuss the double champs. We're going to discuss saying double champs because the Panthers had their celebration yesterday, their parade, and first off, we are a no parade attendance discussion podcast. I saw people saying there weren't a lot of people at the parade. This parade has more people than this. If you talk about parade attendance, you're a fucking loser. And I love everybody, but it's Florida. People have things to do, or they're old. That parade looked like an absolute party. I don't care if there's 100,000 people, 900,000 people, or 8 people. That parade was a bunch of people drinking and living their best lives. So mazel tov to that parade.
Two pushbacks.
Parade grade A.
Two pushbacks on like the attendance thing. If you have an awesome attendance, like you have millions of people,
flex that.
Go ahead and celebrate it. Flex it. And for the Florida case, like I'm gonna defend any Panthers fan that comes out and says, "Oh, we have 6 fans. Check out this parade. Like, check out how many people are here. Check out the community, the state, the market getting behind this team," because they had to eat shit for so many years that I will defend them if they're gonna flex their parade numbers.
But they're like not that great though.
It's fine.
So that's weird.
But it's bigger than 6.
If it's more than 6, yes. I would get to that parade and I'd be like, oh, fuck. Well, I'm one. Oh, eat it, bitches. Yeah, parade attendance talk is kind of lame to me. We know that people love their teams, and we know that when teams win, people celebrate. So whether it's 90% of the people that can make it or 10% of the people that can make it, who cares? It looked like a party. The big takeaway, though, we can do takeaways now that the Cup final is over.
No final takeaways, but all parade takeaways.
Yeah, no, we can do parade takeaways. Is that the Panthers invoked a Connor McGregor quote more than once. I think they were not listening to each other's speeches. Sean, can you give me, I believe the video is called Panthers Double Champ.
We thought about one of my favorite lines ever, and it was, "I would like to apologize to absolutely fucking nobody because I double champed us whatever the fuck he wants." I would like to take this time to apologize to absolutely fucking no one. We're the double champs. We do what the fuck we want. Let's go!
Let's go! We're the double champs.
Okay.
Pretty good. Good
double
work.
champs. This is and granted these people have been drinking, this is a gross misunderstanding of what a double champ is.
What's a double champ?
Somebody who is currently holding two belts. They're not double champs. And that's such a tough term that I would only use double champ if I had to. Like you got to come up with something cooler, something better.
It's concise. Like it may be like technically inaccurate, but it's concise. And honestly, the fact that they can even put a sentence together at this point is impressive.
Sean, how you feel about double champ?
I love it. I love that quote so much. And it gets used so often when championships aren't even involved. So I don't really care about the technicality of the double champ thing.
I did see a post that was like Sam Bennett quoting a reported abuser, bad guy, alcoholic, whatever, is not a good look. And I was like, you can't quote alcoholics? It's not a bad,
there goes like half of music.
Yeah.
Good luck for setting any of those lyrics.
And also, those guys aren't thinking. But double champ, at first, I sent it to you guys, and I was like, this is so dorky. I'm not being a hater, but this is so dorky. And you agreed. And by the time I'd even gotten the text back from you, Pete, I was like, I changed my mind. It's so dorky that I love it. I hope they run double champ into the ground. I hope that when they walk into 11, they're like, double champs are here. I hope that when they forget to pay for a drink and they're like, aren't you going to pay your bill? They're like, double champed them, and just run it into the ground. It's so bad that I think it's good.
Trevor Zegras has been traded to the Philadelphia Flyers.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Cutter Gauthier.
According to Elliotte Friedman. So we will discuss that in a little bit here. But I do want to finish up the parade stuff. Where do you stand on how obnoxious they're being?
Spike the football. If it bounces into the neighbor's yard, be polite in retrieving it and spike it again.
I have layered feelings on it. I love it for the Panthers. They're just fully steering into being villains, which they absolutely should. I think it's very good for the league. It's very good for the Panthers and their identity. You want villains. You want a Stanley Cup parade to look like this, especially if it's the second in a row. Like you said, spike the football. flex the fact that you are kind of bullying the rest of the league right now, especially with the Panthers' identity. They should definitely be doing that. I love it. But at the same time, now I have to root against you. And like, I'm sure that they're okay with that. I'm sure the Panthers fans absolutely want that. But like, if you're going to be this obnoxious, I have to root for you to get humbled from now on. Like, I have to root for you to get knocked down a peg. And 31 other fan bases should, and they probably will. And like, this is good for business. It's good for the league.
Our guy Wyatt Arndt had a thought on this. He's a big wrestling head, and he said that this is pure wrestling. He's making it so, or they're making it so, people will watch the Florida Panthers to watch the Florida Panthers lose.
Yes.
And when they don't lose, it's going to be its own madness. And when they do lose, it's going to be a celebration and everything. And I think that's totally fine. I think Elliotte Friedman said this on 32 Thoughts, which is, if I were Connor McDavid, I would not want them to let up. And I'd have no problem with like, hey, quit picking on me, leave me alone and everything. But when I win, I got all the ammunition. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And Sean, I say this is the biggest Sean, you're making a face in the history of the show, because like that's what you live for. Yes.
Well, yeah, but also like, if they lose, they still did something that nobody else, like, they won back-to-back championships. So if they lose in their fourth straight Stanley Cup appearance, and then people are like, "Oh, you fucking losers!" All that celebrating for the 2 championships they won is for what? Like, I have no interest in people. I get it's preemptive, I guess, but trying to throw any of this behavior back in their face. Like, they earned it 2 years in a row. All of this has only endeared me.
They've earned this, but they will also earn people making fun of them or making all the jokes like, when they do lose, or whenever those playoff exits come. They're going to earn that shit coming back. But this is a
victory lap for a victory.
Exactly.
Yes. Like it is not. It's not preemptive. So like, again, if you're going to sit here and be like if the year after Ovi went on his parade and then everyone was like, "Oh, you fucking losers!" All that celebrating got you what? Got him a fucking Stanley. I got him 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
So like, go fuck yourself.
I'm into it, and the Panthers, noted, are not a dynasty. Could become one, but I'll make the comparison to the Patriots. When teams would beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, they'd be like, "Oh, give me those Brady tears," and I'm like, I don't think he's crying, man.
He still gets 6 Super Bowls.
Like, he's won so many Super Bowls. The Giants fans, I could say yeah. Philly fans, I was like, it's crazy that he didn't win this one. Like, it's crazy that he just threw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl and lost. You are the beneficiary of an insane math problem. That's really, really cool. But I promise you, he's not heartbroken. So, yeah, I agree that it'll be tough to put it back in their face unless they somehow crash and burn.
But even if they do, like if you were saying,
the names are there.
McDavid, and like give it all to me. Like if he even had a sniff of look at how far this got you, it'd still be 2-1.
I will say they're probably the meanest to the losing end of a Stanley Cup final that I've seen in quite a long time.
Maybe. It depends on what quite a long time is. Like the Bruins were worse to the Canucks than the Panthers are being to the Oilers.
Were they?
I'm not even seeing like Matthew Tkachuk saying Connor McDavid who?
That was so stupid.
Buddy, that's his fucking name. That's not how it worked. You said his full name and then you said who. There's no who. You said Connor McDavid.
Connor who is the once again, the fact that he could even put together anything coherent, God bless. But yeah, that was so stupid.
Connor McDavid who? That's like Billy Heel on Le Batard, where he's like, "Who's Peter Blackburn?" You just said who he is. What Chaos? It seems like you know that Peter Blackburn is somebody that does a show called What Chaos. Yeah. And then Marchand doing like the losers thing.
They had like an Oilers pin or sticker or something that was, instead of Oilers, it said losers. Like, they're just doing like all this stuff that is, which like, honestly, after what we heard from James Duthie, sorry, I called him Duthie last week.
I know, that was weird.
I never know how to pronounce his name. And I like respect him and watch him all the time. James Duthie, sorry, apologies. I do not know that man. But he said that this was the nastiest and most vile shit-talking Stanley Cup final that has happened in decades or whatever. Yeah, like, by all means, if that's the case, and I absolutely believe it now based off of the way that they're acting during the celebration, then continue the party and talk that shit. It's such good entertainment.
I mean, my belief on all of this stuff is that you don't like it, win. Like, if you don't like it, don't let them.
And like, if you're going to win back-to-back cups, have the celebrations look different. Like, have it progressively become more and more obnoxious, more and more just like, oh my God, I want these guys to go away so bad. So like, if they win a third in a row, they should be 10 times more obnoxious as three-peat champs. So I have no problem with the way this whole thing is going. I'm so glad that Brad Marchand is still Brad Marchand in the way that he is celebrating this. I was wondering, what would it look like with Brad Marchand in his mid-30s being a Stanley Cup champion? Because his legacy in Boston after winning the Cup was obviously like massive partier, was like had to be kicked out of Boston and sent home. What is it going to look like as he's an adult and has matured and gone through this progression in his career? Now it looks pretty much exactly the same.
Sean, can you give me Marchand water, please?
That's so good. That's so good.
There are so many videos of him doing that.
That is so fucking
And it's
good.
not the same video. If you're listening on audio, it's Brad Marchand behind the bar opening up a bottle of Fiji water. And this makes sense if you saw our water taste test, but he opens it up, puts it to his mouth, and dumps it past it. And dumps it out, does a Dikembe Mutombo, no, and then keeps drinking something else. He is saying, fuck water. This is what I want to say on Brad Marchand. He is putting together the most brilliant pre-free agency press tour I've ever seen, and it does not involve the press at all. It involves Instagram and alcohol. Teams already were going to want this guy because he's a very good player and he can make a team win. If you are seeing what he's doing and reminding everybody how box office he is off the ice, how marketable he is off the ice, owners want this guy now. This is the best thing he could possibly do ahead of free agency, win the Stanley Cup, and show you what a fucking star he is.
So if he had done this last year before Utah had started, he would have gotten paid $18 million a year. Like Ryan Smith would have emptied up, which, I mean, I guess he very, very well likely still could, but in the inaugural season, they would have liked that, man.
So should the Panthers just give him 4 years? Because the more I think about it, they've got nothing coming. They have no picks coming. This is what they are. They're the new Boston Bruins, except more successful. And that you're like,
Quite a bit
damn,
more successful.
You got this pillar on defense. You got these pillars on offense. You got this goalie. Like, everything is set now. And you're like, I don't want to see what's next. But Reinhardt signed forever. Barkov signed. Kachuk is signed. Bob, you got another, I think, does he have 1 more year or 2 more years?
1 more year.
But Gustav Forsling is signed forever. Seth Jones is signed forever. Do you just give him 4 years at a low AAV, like 4 times 6 or 4 times 5.5? If he'll take that, know that it's not going to, quote unquote, age well, but you're not going to fucking age well. Do you just lean into it? Because people watch this and they're like, would he really want to leave this? Yes. I think for the right contract, absolutely he'd want to leave this. But the more I think about it, I'm like, Panthers, you've got a great immediate future. The whole like 4 or 5 years down the road thing, that's not looking amazing anyway. Win 1 million championships right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's probably in their best interest to just try to keep it going as much as they possibly can. But at the same time, like, the Panthers are built on doing it in the smartest way possible. Like, they're not emotionally motivated when they hit these highs. And we kind of had that discussion with Jeff Merrick where he was like, every decision that they make is sort of backed by analytics and backed by smart people who are not just like, oh yeah, times are good, let's run it back. Like, if that were the case, they would have extended to some of these other guys that they've brought in on like the 1 year deals, like an Oliver Ekman-Larsson or whatever. Like,
right.
They're always making the right decision for the team and for their window that they're currently in. So I'm worried that Brad Marchand wants to stay there. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the Panthers extending an offer that's like outrageously bad for them.
I think that they would go 4 years. Nick Kiprio says the Leafs will go 4 years with him and that no one's going to be able to match what they offer him. If they go 4 years with him and he's got, say, at least 3 years of doing every advertisement in the world, he gets the term and he gets the money. So that's an option. And then Craig Morgan pushing back on our stealth reporting that Utah Mammoth, he's not pushing back that Utah Mammoth will be in on him. He pushed back on that it's a perfect fit.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
But he said, I just don't see this. And then people said, hey, how come? And he was like, I don't see it. But Utah, Kevin Miller there, they can...
Penny. Stop it.
Somebody did report that it's less likely they'll go 4 years, that they would just be more 3 years and a lot of money. But
I could see that. Yeah.
I would say, though, Brad Marchand will have no shortage of suitors. And unlike a bottle of water, Marchand will entertain everything. Let's tell you about... I'm going to tell you about Prize Picks. I'm going to have a big Prize Picks week this week. I got a lot of things coming up this week. Prize Picks might be the top of the list.
A lot of irons in the fire?
A lot of irons in the fire. I take my first sewing lesson tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wait, are you doing like a class, a course? Or
No.
a one-on-one?
I am going to do one-on-one sewing lessons.
Where did you book this through?
I was sought after.
Wow. You were recruited?
I was recruited by a...
Was it a podcast listener?
Yes. I was recruited by a prolific sewer, a local seamstress,
Okay.
a local bag maker, a little shop in Cambridge who makes very cool bags, and said, hey, here's what you do. You can come in and I'll teach you how to sew. You can hang out for the day. I'll show you how to sew. Here's the problem. I got the best equipment. Do you really want to learn on the best equipment? So he said, here's the machine that you buy. You buy this machine, come to me, and we'll sew on this machine together. Okay. And I said,
that's very exciting.
Let's do it. So tomorrow I do my first sewing. And then you know what I do after that? I get on, I think the Fever are playing tomorrow. So I jump on them. Prize Picks has like a crazy super goblin where it's more than half a point for Caitlin Clark. Usually it's like more than 20.5 points for Caitlin Clark. I think I'm jumping on that. I think I'm going to say that Caitlin Clark will have more than half a point in that game. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be the summer of WNBA Prize Picks for me because Prize Picks is the easiest place to do daily fantasy. It is just more than, less than on so many player categories. In hockey, we do it for shots on goal. We do it for time on ice. We do it for blocked shots. We do it for points. There's demons, which is tougher ones. There's goblins, which are easier ones. It is so easy to use. So that's going to be my plan for WNBA tomorrow. Were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say, you mean you want a $2,000 extra money because you got some sewing equipment to buy this summer.
I'll tell you what, the sewing equipment, not as crazy as I thought it would be. It's like a couple $100.
Oh, damn.
Once I know how to do that. And I've even got stuff that I specifically want to work on already. So I'm going to hit the ground running. And yes, I'll be able to pay for it if I can 2,000x by picking more or less on a few player stats. It gives you that shot to win 2,000x your money. Download the app today and use code WhatChaos. You'll get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code WhatChaos, and you get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Also want to tell you about our friends at Mando, because Mando is a men's deodorant brand that is hyper-focused on keeping every part of a man's body smelling fresh and clean. Yep, if you know this ad read, you know we're about to say a bunch of words that describe men's body parts, because that's the name of their body parts. Pits, belly buttons, butts, grundles, all
bare
all
butt, balls, and back.
That's right. We love Mando. We love their scents, specifically the bourbon leather one. We're obsessed with that one. We spray it on our microphone so that when we talk and do these podcasts, we can just smell the bourbon leather. It is unbelievable. They also got Cloverwoods, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport. It's a whole body deodorant too. So you put it wherever, safe to use, paraben free, baking soda free. They also come in solid stick, but also sprays, wipes, all that good stuff. And the starter pack is the perfect way to get yourself accustomed to Mando and what they can do for you. So go to get the starter pack. It's perfect for new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers are going to get $5 off the starter pack with our exclusive code. It equates to over 40% off the starter pack. Use code WhatChaos at shopmando.com, shopmando.com. Please support the show. Tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
Okay, Sean, do you have a trade for us?
Yes, I do. Trevor Zegras was traded
Trevor Zegras was traded
to the Philadelphia Flyers
for Ryan Poehling, the 45th overall pick this year, and
Originally,
a 4th round pick next year.
It's originally Columbus's pick, the 45th overall.
That was the big move that we were hearing about from the Columbus Blue Jackets. They said Blue Jackets going to make a big splash this summer, and it's their pick.
Early responses from everyone on Twitter are that the Ducks got fucking fleeced.
That is a very small package for Trevor Zegras.
It is, but also, like, what is Trevor Zegras at this point in time?
All-time low value for Trevor Zegras.
Right, this is low value for him, and I would say this every time Taylor Hall got traded. What would I say, Pete? Do you remember?
You would say teams don't like him as much as the general public does.
Exactly. Teams don't like him as much as you do. And how many times did we need to see that with our guy Taylor Hall? Teams don't like Trevor Zegras as much as you do. What were you going to say? But the general public doesn't like him?
I don't think the general public is really high on Trevor Zegras right now.
I mean, apparently
I don't think he's worth giving up on, but there's reason why Trevor Zegras is not commanding a lot. And there's reason why the Ducks are trading Trevor Zegras in the first place.
Yes. You get a 2nd round pick, you get a 4th round pick. Ryan Poehling, I think, is a fine 3rd line center. And right now, I think Trevor Zegras was a kind of round peg, square hole 3rd line center for the Ducks. So
he played a lot of wing.
Yeah, you can move him around, but he's gone. What's Poehling's contract?
It can't be anything significant. I mean, the big story here, the headliner, is that Trevor Zegras is reunited with Jamie Drysdale.
Yes,
the best friends, and now the Flyers are just kind of fucking around. I wish the Torts was still there. God damn it, Torts coaching Zegras would be the best.
Poehling's got 1 more year at 1.9.
Okay, so
and then becomes a UFA.
That's fine for their construction. We'll talk about Ducks in a minute, but yeah, let's talk about the Flyers and what this means for them. They needed a real 2nd line center, and I think that Trevor Zegras is a real 2nd line center. Apologies to Noah Cates.
I always look at Zegras as more of a wing, just because of the way that he plays, and I just feel like he's best suited for a wing. So,
yeah, I was thinking of teams that should have wanted him, and I thought about the Bruins, and I was like, too much uncertainty there with the Bruins. I wanted the Red Wings to go after him, but there's just no way the guy who gave away Jake Wallman is going to take Trevor Zegras. A lot of teams could have used this guy, and Flyers make sense roster-wise, but what are you trying to do next year, Flyers? Like, is he helping you? I'll say it's a good move for the Flyers because you're taking a, no pun intended, flyer on someone who is never going to be cheaper, and he's one of the most skilled players in the NHL.
Yeah, right. Like, I definitely think it's worth doing if you're the Flyers, especially at that cost. Like, it's a low risk buy on a guy who could have incredible returns if he gets back and develops into the player that we all hope that he would be. The thing is, like with Zegras, I was really hoping that he would go to a team where he could just be plugged in and learn how to kind of adapt to the culture of a more established team. And
Panthers don't have a 2nd round pick to trade for him.
Right. No, I know. But like the Panthers aren't the only team like that across the NHL. I was just hoping that he would be more of a guy who can be a sponge versus a guy who can help define the next generation or whatever next era of a team. And I feel like that they're going to look to him as that in Philly.
I love Flyers fans. Sure.
What a sell.
The conversation
He's got a
around Trevor
jersey.
Zegras has always been a bit loud.
Mm-hmm.
The trade Trevor Zegras talk is now done, but there's still going to be loud conversations around
I was going to
him.
say for now, give it a couple of years.
Give it a couple months, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like he goes to a place where now he's going to be looked at as like a guy who has expectations and like really has to deliver for this team. Correct? Like he is now one of the most, if not the most recognizable name / face on the Flyers.
At the very least,
I'm not saying he's the best player, but like he's like a TJ Oshie type.
At the very least, I'll say the Flyers could afford to make that move knowing that his stock can't go down.
Right.
At the very least, they rehabilitate him and then trade him for more. I like it for the Flyers. I don't hate it for the Ducks. They were going to move on from him. I wanted something more concrete back from him, but I don't know, 45th pick is good enough, and now they've got more certainty with their roster. Do you think that this makes it more likely that they go after Mitch Marner?
Probably.
Yeah, like this to me does play in. This does give you, if you need confirmation bias for they're going to go make a move for Mitch Marner, this is them getting their you-know-what's in a row, I think. Like,
yeah,
they've got a good first-line center. They got a good second-line center. They've got a normal third-line center. There's more certainty there. And now you make your splash.
The thing
you drop 12 a year, 13 a year on Mitch Marner.
The thing about the Mitch Marner pursuit, and we talked about this pre-show, it was discussed on 32 Thoughts as well this morning, that like Marner is positioning himself to carry into free agency, have that sweepstakes become a thing during the free agency process. And if that's the case, the Ducks need to, pun intended, get their ducks in a row.
I avoided it.
And
we
get
both couldn't.
and have Marner be the final piece of whatever plan they have here. Because like if you're building your free agency or your offseason plan around Mitch Marner, you kind of have to have like fail points or like fail insurance built into that, because if Marner carries this a couple weeks into free agency and you don't end up with him, you might be fucked.
I can't see it going a couple of weeks into free agency, but I wonder if there's going to be a Carl Crawford this year where Cliff Lee was the belle of the ball in the free agency or in the winter that Carl Crawford signed with the Red Sox. And the Red Sox went after Carl Crawford because they knew that was the plan B for the Yankees if they couldn't sign Cliff Lee. I wonder if anybody is going to like blow Ehlers out of the water or Brock Besser or somebody, just like overpay for them out the gate and just be like, you know what?
At least we got our guy.
We know we got somebody, and there's that. Sean?
No, I mean, I have to refrain from making everything about the Buffalo Sabres at all times, but that seems like something like a team that feels as though they are at a disadvantage, generally speaking, in free agency markets would do.
I don't need Brock Besser for your guys, Sean.
I don't either, or Oilers. Like I think both of them do it, but it just seems like they would be the kind of team where they're like, we don't have an opportunity, we don't have a real chance at like the big names, so we're gonna go early and go big at Plan Bs, as you said.
Okay, let's bring in our dear friend from Oilers Nation, Daily Faceoff, just everything. The great Tyler Yaremchuk. Whenever I introduce him, I think of Jeff Merrick esteeming him, because there was someone was mad at you online one day, and Jeff Merrick was like, Tyler Yaremchuk is one of the most talented young people in this business. Do you remember that?
I do, because he didn't tag me in the tweet. I would have liked the follower bump, Jeff.
What a bitch that guy is. Don't you? Right. Oh, bad guy, huh?
No offense, Tyler. He's also said that about, I think, us like being like, oh, you guys do the best show, and like we kind of do, but also like we're idiots and we don't know what the fuck we're doing. So just a grain of salt. You might not be the best.
Jeff Merrick is the best because
I'm also an idiot. Like that is very much
That's why we love you.
sometimes I just keep podcasting after we're done podcasting, and if like I've bugged Pete enough, I'll throw something at Merrick, knowing that he's going to come up with the most brilliant response that I've never considered, and I fucking love him. So that's the Merrick discourse. We all like him. 10 thumbs up. Best to do it. Tyler, we brought you on because we do need to satisfy the talk about Connor McDavid not really giving the best press conference as it relates to his future in Edmonton. We've been off since that press conference happened. I've observed you melting down at people thinking that he's gone. You've been doing this since before this press conference even happened. We've talked privately about that fucking guy, Nick Alberga, in Toronto, where every time the Oilers lose a game, he's like, oh man, gotta think he's thinking about going to Toronto. He's not going to Toronto, but I do think it's fair to see what McDavid said and say, ugh, is he going to be an Oiler for life? Say your piece.
You call it melting down. I call it standing on business. Listen, he's not going anywhere. It's never been a question. I think all the people who are taking these little shots at Edmonton and coercing, going through every little word Connor McDavid said. Breaking news, Connor McDavid's not that good at public speaking. Have you ever listened to any one of his press conferences and came away from it being like, boy, that was a sharp intellectual thing that Connor McDavid said? And that's not to say he's not smart and all that, but like, come on, the guy gives boring cardboard press conferences. That's what he does. So should he have come out and like put his fist down and been like, I love being in Edmonton, I'm going to be an Oiler forever? I mean, it would have been great. It would have killed this whole narrative and this discourse. I'm sure Connor McDavid is annoyed that he started this whole thing online and there's all these people asking questions about his future. But when I look at what he said and he, priority number one is winning. Okay, he's on a team that's been to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Like, how much closer can you get unless he wants to go jump ship and join the Florida Panthers? I keep hearing people being like, oh, maybe he'll reunite with Ken Holland in LA. And it's like, well, Ken Holland couldn't build a Stanley Cup winner with Connor and Leon. So what makes you think he's going to be able to do it, or McDavid will have the confidence that he could do it with just Connor in that equation? Like, he has a superstar running mate. He has, the comfort of being in Edmonton where he's now been for a decade. He talked about his family. Okay, him and his wife have bought millions of dollars of real estate in Edmonton over the last 18 months, 2 years. Let's connect the dots there. If they thought there was a slight chance that they were leaving Edmonton in 18 months, why would you do all that? You would probably just keep your money and not invest in a bunch of these businesses. Like, I think every sign away from the rink points to Connor McDavid staying here. Even look at Jeff Jackson. Jeff Jackson leaves the super agency world to run the Edmonton Oilers after being Connor McDavid's agent for basically a decade, basically watching Connor McDavid grow up. Does Jeff Jackson sign up to run the Edmonton Oilers if he thinks in 18 months Connor McDavid's putting up his hand and being like, I'm leaving the organization? There's no shot. Like, I just think people are grasping at straws when they try to do the whole Connor McDavid is leaving, because every actual tangible piece of evidence that we've seen over the last 2 years points to Connor McDavid wanting to be in Edmonton. Rant over.
So, I mean, like, I agree with a lot of what you're saying there, except that Connor McDavid is not like a thoughtful quote and doesn't know what he's doing when he gets behind a microphone. I think that he's very, very careful and very, very thoughtful when he speaks. But there's no part of you that's a little bit concerned that he opened the door. He opened the door, and there's no denying that. And I do think that he probably understood the consequences of opening the door before he opened it.
I think maybe it was done to, make that front office feel a little uncomfortable more than it was done to like send a message to the league that like, hey, I'm not thrilled here. Again, they've gotten to within 3 combined wins of winning the Stanley Cup now over the last 2 years. Like, they're just as close as any other team could be, or as any other team has been, of getting there over the last number of seasons. I think it was done more of a way to like really jolt the front office and be like, you guys better have a clear-cut plan when you come to me in a week and be able to tell me exactly how you plan on keeping this window open for the next 8 seasons. Because I'm also of the camp that like this isn't going to be a 2 or 3 year extension. I really think this is going to be a 5, 6, 7, or 8 year contract. I lean more towards the max. Because here's the other thing too. If you want me to give you like a little anti-Oilers take on all of this, everyone keeps saying that, oh, Connor McDavid could. I saw someone the other day, he could take a 1 year deal. No, he's not going to do that. Again, Connor McDavid hates the noise. He hates having to face all these questions. Why would he sign up or even run through this season as a pending free agent, knowing that all he would hear about for the next however long is, what are you doing next year? Are you leaving? All of this. I love that you guys have a dog on the show. That's hilarious.
His name's Johnny Lazarus.
But McDavid hates the noise. And like, I think he'll sign an 8-year deal. And guess what? If by year 3 of that contract, the Oilers are sputtering or it's not looking good, he just puts up his hand or he walks into Stan Bowman's office and he says, I'm done. Trade me to LA. I'm done. Trade me to New York or Chicago or wherever he would want to go in that circumstance. Like, no player would have more power and ability to just put their hand up and say, I'm out of here, you're trading me, than Connor McDavid. So I think he does an 8-year extension to end the noise. And I mean, does he play out the whole 8 years? I tend to believe he will be an Oiler for his entire career. But again, I think the quotes and that stuff, it's to put some pressure on the management more than it's to signal that he's unhappy.
What if it's 8 years, what do you expect the number to look like? What do you think the number looks like? Because is he going to take the, unbelievably high maximizing his money deal, or is he leaving a bunch on the table to help build this team?
Here's what I haven't seen people talk about a lot, and I don't know if it's because it's unrealistic or if people are just more focused on the term and all of that. Is there a world where McDavid becomes the superstar who really takes advantage of the deferred money? Like we saw Seth Jarvis do a deferred money thing with Carolina. But if McDavid does say, I believe in the organization, I want to win a Stanley Cup, but I also want to get paid, would he defer a significant chunk of it to keep the AAV down? I'm curious about that. But no, I could see this being like, if I had to guess right now, he's going to want to be the highest paid player in the league. I think he probably feels some pressure to be the highest paid player in the league and kind of set that market. I could see on an 8-year deal, this thing being $17.5 million. Like, that's mind blowing. It's $3.5 million more than any player's got AAV wise right now. It would be significant. It'd be a lot of dollars in his pocket. And then I wonder if there's not like a deferred thing to maybe knock that down a few million. Of course, I'm not Puckpedia. I'm not a numbers wizard. I don't know how exactly all that math would work, but I'm just interested or curious as to why we haven't heard that conversation a bit more.
I'm almost willing to guarantee that if he signs a deferred money deal with the Oilers for 8 years, that within like 2 years that the NHL will like ban deferred money.
I mean, he's only got a few months to do it because the next CBA is going to get rid of it.
Right.
So like now would be the time to get it in. You are so goddamn lucky, Tyler, that my Photoshop is being slow because I'm trying to make a lower third that says Yaremchuk, McDavid, quote, boring, possibly dumb. So I know that you're not a McDavid guy, but a point that you make on the term I think is smart, which is that he might give up money just to avoid a headache and go 8 years and say, the second I want to leave, I leave anyway. So, and I also think that I love Connor McDavid. I think that nobody owes him anything, et cetera, et cetera. There is a point term-wise where he'd be kind of being an asshole. Like, I would say that he should do like 4 years. 3 years is maybe welcoming a lot of conversation. If he goes like 1 year and it seems like he's holding the franchise hostage and says like, you better get me a Stanley Cup, that kind of seems ring chasey, and that's not what he's doing. So why would he do that, you know?
And I also think McDavid's been a guy you can go back to junior when he got drafted by the Erie Otters. And I mean, everyone at that time was like, he's not going to play in Erie. He's going to ask for a trade. He's always been, I think, very legacy aware and conscious of what people view him as. He doesn't want to have that kind of a reputation as being someone who, and again, this goes back to junior, but it follows him to the NHL when he signed an 8-year deal with the Oilers as quick as he could sign a full max term deal with the Edmonton Oilers. I don't think he likes the noise. I don't think he wants to give off that impression that he's ring chasing or whatever. So that's, again, why I think it's an 8-year deal. And like in the grand scheme of Connor McDavid's career earnings, could he do a 4-year deal at $15.5 million, and then in 4 years, when the cap shoots up a bunch, go and sign an 8-year deal then at $20 million. Like, yeah, he could, but at the end of his career, we're talking about what, maybe $6-7 million total, which sounds like a gross amount of money, but that to Connor McDavid it's probably not worth the headache at that point, if you kind of get what I'm saying. So I think we'll see another max term deal here. It'll run him till he's 37, 38 years old. And the other thing too is Leon Draisaitl did the max term last summer. Like, these guys are best friends off the ice. Do you really think Leon Draisaitl was like, I'm doing the 8-year thing in Edmonton? Because again, there would have been a case for him to take a 3-4 year deal and be a free agent again at 32 years old. He signed that contract when it was still flat cap world, right? Would Draisaitl have signed 8 years if he didn't think Connor McDavid wasn't just going to do the same thing the next summer?
Here's the thing. He can, though. He can Paul George himself if he wants. If McDavid leaves, he can say, all right, I'm out of here. And they would get everything for Leon Draisaitl. I'm seeing people like, hey, what would a trade package for Connor McDavid look like? And every single one you look at, you're like, that's the worst trade in the world. Like, there's nothing, there's no trade that the Oilers could win trading Connor McDavid. Like, Draisaitl would kind of look like that too. But if McDavid leaves, I would not be surprised if Draisaitl's like, get me out of here. But that's a cross the bridge.
I
when you
would
get
be
to
surprised by that, because to me, and I think I talked about this last week, to me, that signifies Leon like jumping ship and abandoning his boy.
So that
and
does,
his boy being the Edmonton Oilers, which like, I think that Leon has enough confidence in himself to be the guy. Like, if Connor leaves, I think Leon will embrace being the guy. He doesn't need to be it, but I don't think he's afraid to be it.
That's a good point. That would be Robin behavior. And we roll our eyes every time someone calls Leon Draisaitl a Robin. That was it. TSN that put out the, like, is he the best sidekick of all time? And we're like,
he's too good to be a sidekick.
Like,
to be considered a sidekick.
And it would be sidekick behavior, yes, to say, okay, it's being broken up, so I guess I'm gone too. Let's switch gears to Evan Bouchard. 1-year deal is something that has been kicked around by, I want to say, Chris Johnston, and he's got until July 5th to elect arbitration. And if he does that, he gets a lot of money, obviously, because his arbitration case is unbelievable. What would you do with Bouchard if you're the Oilers? Would you sign him long-term, or would you say, let's go short-term when Elliotte said this morning, that's still going to cost you $10 million a year?
Yeah. Also, I believe once he elects for arbitration, he's then ineligible for an offer sheet as well. So that means if a team were to jump in on the offer sheet market, they only have until July 5th. And to your point, Evan Bouchard's arbitration case is so strong that there is no world he does not try to take advantage of arbitration, or at least leave that as a threat, because his arbitration number probably gets him in the high 9s. You're right. If they were to sign him to, let's say, a 3-year deal that walks him, 1 or 2 years past unrestricted free agency, that probably still costs you $10 million or 9.5. So if you're the Oilers and Bouchard says, okay, you want to go short term, 3 years, it's 9.5, or an 8-year deal is 10.5. I mean, what are we doing here, right? Like, that's barely the cost of a league minimum player. Just sign the guy for the full 8 years and actually get the benefit of, in years 4, 5, 6, and 7 of that contract, there's going to be 15 defensemen maybe making more money than him by that point. Like, with the cap shooting up, I think the sticker shock on a lot of extensions and contracts is going to continue to surprise us. And I think teams should always be pushing for more term right now. So I wouldn't be thinking about a 3-4 year deal with Bouchard. I'd be going max term on him as well. I also think that's a great way if you want to point to Connor McDavid and be like, look at what we're doing to keep our competitive window going. You sit there and go, we have you, McDavid, that is, Draisaitl, and Bouchard all signed for the next 8 seasons. Like,
don't forget Trent
I
Frederick.
was going to say Trent Frederick.
Don't forget Trent Frederick.
That's probably a big part of this as well. But like, you can sit there and point to the nucleus and the biggest pieces and be like, we have cost certainty as the cap keeps shooting up. Connor, we're going to be good for the next couple of years, and then we're going to have cap space after that to continue to build around you. Like, I think going 8 years with Evan Bouchard is the smart play. Am I going to be wincing when I see $10.3 million come in as the AAV? Yeah, I'm going to be wincing a little bit, but it's better than the alternative, and that's not having Evan Bouchard on your team.
And you're not trading Darnell Nurse.
I would love to trade Darnell Nurse. Full no movement clause. He loves the guys in that room. He's been in the city now for 10 years. Is there a world where Darnell Nurse waves? I don't see it. And I know people point to like, oh, well, Pierre-Luc Dubois, they got him to wave out of LA. Like, yeah, that's because he didn't like it there and it wasn't a fit. People can point to a whole, like Seth Jones. Okay, but that's unique because Seth Jones was on a garbage team and then had a chance to go play in Florida and be on a Stanley Cup contender. Like, is there a Stanley Cup contender who's going to put up their hand and be like, we'll take Darnell Nurse off your hands? And is that a spot Darnell Nurse would want to go? Like, I just don't see a realistic path to Darnell Nurse not being an Oiler next season or convincing him to waive.
I think the path opens up when the team tells you that they don't want you. Like, he loves Edmonton. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he loves the group. But at the end of the day, if a team tells you or signifies to you they don't really want you, I think that changes the way you think about things.
But, and again, like, where would he, if the Oilers were like, we don't want you here, we're trading you to Columbus, like, would Darnell Nurse just be like, oh, damn, like, I feel bad? Like, I think you still would have to find like a competitive team that he would want to go to. Like, the one thing I kicked around on the show the other day, I'm not sure how realistic it is. I don't even think it makes the Oilers better. But like, if you went to Darnell Nurse and we're like, hey, Toronto's giving us Morgan Rielly, do you want to go play back home? He's from Hamilton. Okay, like maybe that's the type of trade we're looking at here, where there's someone on another competitive team who's grossly overpaid, who you go to Darnell Nurse and say, you need a fresh start. We want a different vibe. Let's do this swap. But like, are the Oilers better with Morgan Rielly than Darnell Nurse? I'm not totally sold on that.
And I don't think that he needs a fresh start. I think that the biggest thing is, you brought up on Oilers Nation, what are you attaching to him? And then are you done making moves for the next couple of years? If you say, here's our 2027 first round pick, take Darnell Nurse and like eat the whole contract, you can't get anybody at the deadline. Then you're Florida minus the Stanley Cups.
Yeah, like without a doubt. Like, it would probably take more than, like, the Leafs paid a first round pick to get out of 1 year of Patrick Marleau's contract. What do you have to pay to get out of 5 more, 6 more years? It is 5 more years of Darnell Nurse. Like, it'd be disgusting. Like, you just don't have the ability to do that. You're way better off crossing your fingers, finding him a good partner, which maybe they have with Jake Wallman. Maybe Wallman playing on the right side with Nurse. Maybe they can find a way to vibe next year. I just think you're way better off trying to find Darnell Nurse a proper partner and properly slotting him on your roster than you are chasing your tail, trying to be like, okay, Matt Savoy in a first, and then maybe we can get out of Nurse, but we still have to take a bad contract. Like, it's just so messy.
Yeah, I think that they need to try Savoy and Sam O'Reilly and like even Hudson. Like they need to see if some of those young guys can actually be stars, because like McDavid's got to be absolutely jonesing for that after the double offer sheets last year. We'll ask
Not
you
even
about
stars, just like usable players.
Yeah, like again, like what the Chicago Blackhawks used to do. Like that was the model for me. Like, pay your stars and have your fourth line be a bunch of guys on entry-level contracts who are good players. We'll get you out on goalie talk, but first I want to ask, am I crazy for kind of thinking about Matthias Ekholm as a possible guy to move out?
I don't know if it's a possible guy to move out, but I'm really curious about his injury. I had heard things from the first round of the playoffs that like, hey, there's not a hope in hell this guy's playing, and there's not a hope there might be a shot he's not ready for next year, and like, who knows what next year could look like for him. Obviously he came back, but we saw what he looked like. If he really needs a big groin surgery and it's something that's going to keep him out long term, maybe he's a guy who's on LTIR for the bulk of next season. Again, like, I don't think you trade him.
They should try that. The league will be down.
Well, you can just schedule the surgery to like, oh, whoops, we were hoping that he would be able to get going for the start of the season. Schedule the surgery so that it carries through the end of the year.
That's Jesus.
Do
you think they could? Do you think
there's
they could
no
pull it
precedent
off?
for it, but I think they could pull it off.
I mean, yeah, I've never heard that one before. And like, I mean, that's what's so dumb about the Oilers being investigated for the Evander Kane thing, is like, Nikita Kucherov sat on a stage wearing a $19.5 million over the cap shirt, and the league was like, whoop. And Evander Kane does it. He had 2 surgeries during the year, and the league's like, hold on, we got to look into this, which again, it's Evander Kane. I'm not feeling
what kind of allegations are you leveraging right now?
Interesting.
Go on.
Nikita Kucherov famously not black.
Out.
Yeah.
We think people might be cheating, might be fudging the cap. I mean, Matt Tkachuk was just magically out of the lineup for like a couple of months for Florida and was ready to play game 1. Meanwhile,
it sounds like maybe you're
the NHL racist.
All right, let's get to the goalie talk now, huh? Who do you want to be your goalie next year?
I think Stu Skinner sticks around on that note. But no, I really do think Stu Skinner sticks around. I think they find a better partner for him. It's probably going to have to come on the trade market because I think Jake Allen probably gets a little bit too much money from someone who has more space than the Edmonton Oilers. And like, I don't know, are you signing Anton Forsberg? Like, that doesn't seem like a good way to kill the narrative that your team doesn't have a goalie capable of winning a Stanley Cup. Like, I think they go trade market. I like Demko, but an in-division trade is probably unlikely. I like Gibson if the Ducks are willing to keep some of the money. Frank says Hofer's available on the trade market. He's not experienced, but he has the upside. There's just not very many good names. Like, it's such a frustrating spot to be in because, again, I think giving up on 26-year-old Stuart Skinner is a bad idea. I think you play out the last year of this contract with him and see what he does in his 27-year-old season, and you just put someone more reliable in as his partner. Gibson would be fine depending on the cost. I would really push hard for Demko, but it's a crappy market. Maybe you can convince Marc-Andre Fleury he doesn't actually want to retire.
I was I was rollerblading and listening to Stan Bowman's press conference because that's how I do it. And when he said the thing about goalies, I was like, he's fucking right, which is someone's like, hey, what are you going to do about your goalies? Like, this is 2 years in a row that goalies has been, and he was like, it's 2 years in a row that we had the better goalie in every series we played except for one. And I'm like, yeah, but Stu's reached a point where what happens if they keep Stu Skinner? He has a great year and you go into the playoffs and you're like, is Connor McDavid mad that Stuart Skinner is the goalie again? And then Stu has a bad game at some point, and then Stu is better than Jake Ottinger for a series, and Stu's, but like, we've just seen this happen so many times, but it seems that the faith will never permanently be there. And the trust will never permanently be there. So they have to make it, and I love Stu, but they have to make it so when they go into the postseason next year, they know who their goalie is. And unfortunately, for them, not for me, but for them, it can't be Stu.
I just think that's why you need to get someone who, again, like a Gibson or a Demko, where their high end is clearly so much better than Skinner's, because then you could sit there, and if there is a world where Stu Skinner is your starter game one of next year's playoffs, it's because, and again, this is probably how you have to point to Connor McDavid and justify it. It's like, Connor, Stu Skinner was better than John Gibson for 45 starts this year. We have to roll with them. Like, you have to just be so sure of it that you're right. It can't be a scenario where, like, again, because I heard the name Anton Forsberg and I heard the name Alex Lyon earlier in the week or early last week. It's
you said that like it was a slur.
I mean, Alex Lyon is the reason that the Florida Panthers are what they are, because they don't get into the playoffs that first year where they make it to the Stanley Cup final without Alex Lyon. So put some goddamn respect on his name.
Panthers are such frauds, man. They got so fucking lucky at the beginning of this thing.
Oh, if Brad Marchand, I've seen that clip. If Brad Marchand scores on that one breakaway, whatever it was.
Oh, he's talking about 3 years. Oh, yeah. 3 years ago. Yeah. Against Florida. Yeah.
Two absolute Mickey Mouse championships. In all seriousness, like, they should, and Zach Phillips had a good thing on this on the sheet. Like, there's so many things that lead you to how did the Panthers get here? And it's crazy.
I mean, over a 3-year run, every team gets lucky, and there are those moments that you can point to. But yeah,
Mickey Mouse double champs.
I've been saying the Oilers need a higher ceiling other goaltender for so long. Yeah. I've been saying it since before the trade deadline. It's what I wanted them to do at the trade deadline. Like, I never thought that you needed the guy who kicked Stuart Skinner out of town, but you needed a guy who made Stuart Skinner uneasy, or, well, more uneasy than Stuart Skinner makes himself.
And just had a very high floor, because
you needed a guy to push him.
You talked about ceiling, you like a higher end ceiling with Stu. I am never worried about the ceiling with Stu,
right?
Because the ceiling with Stu has been, I mean, Bowman wasn't there for it, but Stu had actually, no, he was better in game one, but like, Stu, for the balance of that cup final in 2024, outperformed Sergei Bobrovsky. Stu his ceiling is certainly not the best in the league, but we've seen him consistently be really, really good until he's not good, and then he's not good at all. So I'm fine with Stu's ceiling. Believe you me, it's the floor that is so down low.
It does not exist.
So the whatever
the floor
opposite,
is invisible.
The floor does not exist. So yeah, I agree with Pete. You need a high floor guy, and that's not Stu. That's a backup, or it's a 1A 1B.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. I think that's why, like, again, a lot of people with like the Joel Hofer idea where like he's another unproven goalie. How can you trust him? And I saw something be like, look at Ville Husso. He had a couple good years in St. Louis. He went somewhere else, got paid, and then he was garbage. And there is risk if you were to go with the younger option and like a Hofer or whatever. But I also look at it and go, okay, he's put together a handful of decent seasons in St. Louis, and like that's a guy who probably gives you a higher floor than Stuart Skinner did. Like they just need more balance. And again, that's why Stan Bowman's getting paid to be the GM of this team. Like he's got to figure out who can be that guy and what assets are worth giving up. Because that's the other flip side is like you have maybe 2 decent forward prospects in your system. And as you pointed out, you need those guys to pan out and be NHLers for you. They can't just be trade chips. And the other side is $11.9 million in cap space right now. You need to give Bouchard at least 10 of that. Trent Frederick needs 3.8 of it somehow. Like you can't go take John Gibson at full board for $6 million. Like you just can't afford to do that with the way your cap structure is. So that's the other thing that complicates all this is you need someone who is very good and also doesn't cost a lot of assets and also doesn't have a high cap hit. That's tough to find.
It's not an easy bit of work. That's for sure.
I can't believe they got Frederick for only $3.8 million. Tidy bit of work
for all 8 years too. That's crazy.
That's a cap going up.
8-year deal, max term for everybody. Everybody coming off the books for the Edmonton Oilers. You love to see it.
Tyler, we're very fortunate you came on with us. You always give us enlightening and slightly enraged takes from time to time, so that was very good. Thank you, my friend. Are we? You do it every day during the summer, yes?
No, we go down to 3 days a week, starting the week after free agency. So we're still 5 days a week this week, and then we'll slowly knock it down a little bit. Let Liam get up to his usual nonsense in the summer when there's no hockey. If you think he's unhinged during the season, Liam, when there's no hockey to talk about, it's not a hockey show.
He's the best. He was made for moments like this. Thank you so much, Tyler. We love you.
Yeah, sorry for calling Connor McDavid dumb. Didn't mean to. See you, boys.
This smear campaign has already started.
He was being Connor McDavid. He was not giving a good quote.
That's true.
He messed up the quote.
I mean, that's the big takeaway here. We're doing takeaways now. Is Tyler Yaremchuk is already launching the Connor McDavid smear campaign in Edmonton.
It wasn't a good quote.
Real
Get him out
ugly.
of here.
Hate to see it.
Yeah. We got a lot more rumblings and grumblings. We've got we got Frank saying that JJ Peterka trade happens this week before the draft.
Not surprising.
Yeah. And Elliotte has said that they don't want to do it, but maybe they're becoming resigned to the fact that they have to. I don't totally know what that means because they do not have to do it, but I don't know. If I'm you, Sean, I'm happy to see Trevor Zegras get traded someplace else.
Have you pre-grieved?
Not with him. We were kind of talking earlier. I'll be surprised if Bo Byram is on the team to start the year. So
I've pre-grieved Bo Byram.
I've pre-grieved Bo Byram.
Is that even grief?
Not even. Yeah, not really. It's like I like him. I would like him to be a Buffalo Sabre and be good. I don't know how many like top pair quality left shot D-men we can have on one team, but still, the JJ thing. I don't know.
I feel like you could be okay. And you should be okay with the JJ Peterka team as long as you feel like they're a better team as a result of it. You don't want to trade JJ Peterka and be a worse team tomorrow.
I mean, it ultimately depends on the return. I guess like the Zegras and Marchment returns aren't necessarily the most like encouraging things, but we'll see.
Marchment was just a cap dump.
Yeah, and like I know like Merrick was talking about it on the sheet. Like part of that is I think Neil being like, if you're going to take a team-friendly deal, we're not going to fuck you over later on. We're going to send you somewhere you want to go type of thing. So we'll see. I don't know. I would rather
no tax.
JJ Peterka. Exactly. That's like not a joke. I think that's part of why he did it. Right. And like, so we'll see. I would rather JJ Peterka be a Buffalo Sabre for the foreseeable future. But if they get a good return, if it's a Rossi, if it's a Dobson, something like that, we'll take it.
So they're reportedly in on Rossi. You wouldn't want the 3rd overall pick.
I mean, I'll take it, but it's not. I would rather a player.
That'd be a tough pill to swallow for me.
What?
If I'm a Sabres fan.
Yes, getting the third overall. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I
just
great. We have the third overall pick in a 2-player draft.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Hagens doesn't whoever that would be doesn't really do.
How are they getting
for
the
me.
third overall pick
For Peterka.
from Chicago?
Yeah, like would you do like? I would. That's like
that
that's
roster
like
Chicago.
a quote unquote fair trade. But
it's fair on paper, but it's just not what
Sabres
the it's just not what the Sabres
because
need.
then you're just back to rebuilding. You got the third pick and you got the 9th pick.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that the Sabres should have an appetite for trades that make them worse tomorrow. Like, they should not be kicking the can down the road. Like, this is a team that should feel the urgency to win as soon as possible because
they need to make the playoffs
been losing for so long.
They need to make the playoffs this year. Like, and I think everyone, not only from like there's a drought and all that, but I think everyone in the front office understands that if they don't make the playoffs this year, they're out of jobs. So like, I don't see Kevin Adams making moves for any reason other than to make the playoffs this year.
And that could scare you too.
Which for sure, but I think in this circumstance, it's better than being like, oh, we've got time. Let's get assets. Let's get picks.
So could they? I mean, if they could figure out some sort of Rossi and Peterka trade, that would be good. Like you get a top 6 center back.
I would like that. For the
like,
I would like
Rossi,
it.
I think is like a first line center.
I think he would be a great pairing. I think we saw this year that Tage Thompson plays better on the wing. And if you pair him with Rossi on that first line, I think that looks quite nice.
I was going to say, in the case of Rossi, is he a Kirill Kaprizov merchant? That can be okay because the Sabres don't have Kirill Kaprizov, but they've got players
Tage Thompson
who are good enough to make you a, say, Tage Thompson.
Here's the thing about that is that I think that at the very least they have 2 or 3 top 6 centers. I don't know if they have a first line center, but they have 2 or 3 top 6 centers.
The Sabres,
if
they get
Rossi.
Yeah,
like, no, I don't know if Rossi fully profile. I'm not certain that he profiles as a number 1 center, but like a Tage, a Norris, a Rossi, they're all top 6 centers. I don't know if this is making any sense, but
no, I agree. And I it's like I want them obviously to win a Stanley Cup. I want them to be the best team possible. I don't think they're winning a Stanley Cup next year. They just need to make the playoffs, and I think being good, not great, can do that. Like, I don't think they necessarily need to have it all figured out. Like, I don't think they need to become a Stanley Cup contender this year. They need to become a playoff
they're
contender
not going
this year.
to.
Exactly.
Don't worry.
Right, but like,
don't worry about that.
I know, but they need to become like, so like, I am fine if their move toward progress is becoming stronger in the top 6 and not necessarily just becoming like one of the best first lines in the league.
Okay, say they do that. What does Minnesota do at center? Do they have to take all this money that they're coming into and just give John Tavares like the biggest bag he's ever seen in his life?
I would like to offer them one Elias Lindholm.
Oh, that's very big of you.
I'm very generous.
I'd be fine to see Elias Lindholm go somewhere else and just be on a good team, but I'm in no rush to dump Elias Lindholm. I'm in no rush to dump either Lindholm.
I mean, I don't think the Bruins are exactly in a rush to do anything right now.
They signed Mason Lowry.
That's that. I mean, hey, pretty good. Deal to
better number than Edmonton's going to have to give Evan Bouchard.
I'm starting to get
the
out.
Bruins win this trade.
They just gave Trent Frederick are about to give Trent Frederick $3.8 million for 8 years. So, I mean, to figure out what Mason Lowry is in the next couple of years, very okay with that.
This, I'm starting to get excited. I'm like ahead of myself. This would be like the first time as like an actual adult potentially that you would have seen the Buffalo Sabres in the playoffs and the Bruins not.
I mean, if you get Marco Rossi and Elias Lindholm, you might be a playoff team.
I mean, I think it's easy to forget they in their current form should be a playoff team.
If they don't lose 14 games
in a row. If they don't lose
14
games in a row, yeah. But like it's a good roster. Their goalie underperformed, and I don't know if UPL is last year's UPL or the year before UPL. That's a big difference. But like they're not far from being a playoff team on paper.
Someone in the chat asks Byram to the Kings for Jordan Spence plus. I love
plus.
Jordan Spence.
Okay, yeah.
That
Got to be plus, I think.
Which All-Star
Plus,
is
plus,
plus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like which NHL Hall of Famer is plus that you're talking about there?
Got to be a decent
And,
level more
like,
than that.
not to like talk yourselves out of every Bo Byram trade because of like what a team has on the blue line already. But like the Kings want to trade Jordan Spence because they don't feel like they can carry
too much on the
Spence
blue line.
and Brant Clark. And Brant Clark is going to be their power play guy on the blue line.
Yeah. And I mean, we were talking about this
And
earlier.
that's
Like,
what Byram wants to be.
there's a part of you, like as a Sabres fan or general hockey fan, I think that like it gets to a point where you're like, well, fuck what Bo Byram feels. He doesn't really have that kind of leverage. But at the same time, it's like he's an RFA. He needs to go somewhere. He's only going to get traded somewhere if that team knows he's going to sign, and he's only going to do that if he thinks he's going to have his opportunity. So it's not like they can just really trade him wherever they want.
I don't think that a team is going to willingly sign up for a player who is like gonna pretty like loudly make themselves a problem. If
I mean, we saw it in Buffalo. Again, we're assuming that it was Natchez, but it was somebody that they had a trade agreed to, and they were like, "I'm not signing in Buffalo," and that trade falls through.
In fairness, it could have been anybody who was saying that.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been.
It could be anybody in the league who is saying that. Someone in the chat says, quote, if they don't lose games, they'll make the playoffs. Exactly. You see the type of thing that we're going for.
Yes.
So that concludes the Buffalo Sabres conversation. Let's talk a little Boston Bruins because, Pete, they have unveiled a new logo.
No, they haven't.
In a Flyers-esque kind of way, they're like, here's what our new logo is. And you're like, oh, yeah, I've seen that before. Or that's a version of something. There it is. If you're watching on YouTube, which we hope you are, make sure you're subscribed everywhere. You see that it is the non-super, the flatter spoked B, we'll call it.
It is. It's sort of a hybrid. They're taking the newer B and slapping it on the older like 80s style logo. And there's two of them, and I love them both. There's the gold B, there's the black B. I love this logo. I'm so happy that they're going back to this. It's not like extremely exciting for anybody who's not a Bruins fan. I'm sure that like there are 31 fan bases that look at this and go, that's not the same logo that they've had for the past 20 years.
Yes.
But it is the best version, I think, of what the Bruins have had in terms of a logo and the jersey that they're going to release on Wednesday. I've been begging for this change for like decades at this point, or at least a decade, and I'm so happy that they're going back to it.
It's a new look in Spoke City.
That's
Spoke
right.
City? Spoke City? Yeah.
Spoke City. Hashtag Spokes Up.
Hashtag Spokes Up. Very good. They teased something they said something's coming on June 25th. Maybe it's the jersey. Maybe I don't know what it is, but
It's the jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, birthday jersey for
That's
Peter
right.
because he turns 50 on June 25th, famously.
That's right.
Are you going to get a jersey right away?
Depends.
Who would you get?
I would probably get a David Pastrnak.
Jacob Lauko.
Oh, yeah. People forget.
A Morgan Geekie.
Oh.
I'm gonna celebrate that Morgan Geekie extension.
Jonas
Nice.
Korpisalo.
Who do you think I'm getting? If someone says, Dave, it's your lucky day, you're getting a Bruins jersey. Any player you want.
Nikita Zadorov.
Probably getting Nikita Zadorov. I did a photo dump of what Chaos pictures from this year. And the last one was the picture before the second period of Nikita Zadorov going up to Stu Skinner, giving a little tap on the pad saying, hey, sorry, when I had that partial break, I said, fuck trying to score a goal, and I just ran you over. What a fucking legend. I love Nikita Zadorov. I'm in on the Bruins this year, man.
Sure.
I think
Okay.
they got the Lindholms. They're going to have fucking Jake O'Brien.
To what end? You're into them and what?
Like, I'm
what
getting
end?
season tickets.
Well, like, okay.
I would love that.
But not necessarily. Like, you're not into them as like they're going to be good. You're just into them and they're going to be fun. Or do you think they're going to be good?
I don't think they're going to be fun.
So why? It's just like you hate yourself.
I'm in on them.
I mean, as like he's a self-sabotager, so
Yeah,
he's
that's what
like,
I'm
oh
saying,
yeah,
like-
I'm gonna really care about the Bruins this year. This is the year to get in.
No,
on this.
I'm going to be a big like walk into coffee shops, like see the Bees last night.
How about those
Just
Bees?
that's all.
Lost 5-1 to the Kraken.
Bees got rocked.
I am very excited to just like to get rid of last season, start over. It might not be any better, but I am excited to just watch Bruins hockey.
Someone says the Bruins are going to make the playoffs. I don't know if that's a riff on my famous, the Bruins are winning the Stanley Cup, right? I'm going to start after every game. I'm going to do, the Bruins are missing the playoffs, but we're in on them, right? Or like we're in on the Bruins, right?
The Bruins could make the playoffs. Like they could be. I'm not going to be shocked they're a bubble team.
Yeah, no. We've seen over the course of the last 2 years that the East can either be good or a bunch of fucking assholes trying to figure out who's in the bottom of it.
You're probably getting 5 playoff teams from the Atlantic. So why not us?
Why not us?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it means, but I'm in on them.
Yeah, okay.
I'm very excited to find out what being in on them means, but
fair. I will say there is a certain element of like I just kind of want to figure out what's going on over there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like I want to know. Do I get to enjoy them sucking for the next decade or however long? Do I get to enjoy them being like mediocre for however long?
I don't know what they're going to look like next year, but if they don't really do anything of significance this summer, and I don't know what I want that to be, I don't know what that's going to look like. But if they don't do anything of significance, I'm going to be pissed because like there's a lot of blank canvas right now. And if it's just painted with like 1 or 2 year players that you just like have a sense that you're not going to know them in a couple of years, I'm going to hate that.
But
like when your team hits that kind of stage where you're like, oh, in 5 years we're going to look back at this team and be like, oh my God, I forgot all of these guys were on the team. That is what's going to piss me off.
I guess the only thing I'll say is that like I don't know, like doing something. Not all things are created equal. Like if you just were to, if all of a sudden they were like, we have signed Mitch Marner, off season over. Like I think that's bad. That's bad for the Boston Bruins.
Definitely.
Like you need.
I don't want Mitch Marner.
Like I think you either gotta decide what camp you're in. Like I would rather them just blow it up and be like, we're gonna suck this year, as opposed to being like,
agreed.
We're gonna sign the ghost of Terrell Owens. That'll make the Buffalo Bills good. And it doesn't.
I'm in.
Chat wants to talk us about Jonathan Taves to the Winnipeg Jets, so this is us doing that. Not very exciting, but I'm happy for Jonathan Taves.
I mean, it's the most exciting place he could have gone, I think.
I guess.
Other than the
probably.
Blackhawks.
And it's just like, I don't know what you expect him to be. He hasn't played hockey in 2 years. And
it's probably not going to be good, would be my guess.
I wouldn't bank on it. It seems like the Winnipeg Jets are kind of banking on him being good.
Yeah, I mean, if he's a third line player, that rocks.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's so cool that he's back in the NHL, and I'm not saying that in like a white knighty kind of way,
and not in like a PTO way either. Like he's got a contract, he is good to go.
He should have gone
that
back
is
to the
that's
Blackhawks.
Awesome. I'm very, very.
They
happy
got the
for him.
space too because no one wants to go there. So great. We have a super chat from H&M Archery, our dear friend from the live streams, who says cats who won 4 nations can be called double champs. Very
True.
good.
And Bennett is one of them.
That is true.
Oh,
Kachuk is definitively not one of them. But yeah,
that is true. Good point.
Marchand is a double champ.
Yeah.
So stolen valor, Matthew Kachuk.
Yes.
Because Matthew Kachuk's got to go champ.
Yeah.
Not double champ.
Champ. John Evans with the super chat says, for Penny. Yes, Penny's a very handsome dog. Young Gritty says, behavior grade on the Islanders putting out a lottery winners t-shirt. Love the show. And then Zegras, baby. Yes, did you see this? The t-shirts?
I did not.
I did not.
They have t-shirts. I'll filibuster
behavior.
while Sean finds it. There's a t-shirt that just says like #1 overall pick.
That is so bad.
I mean,
that is such bad behavior. And it's worse behavior by anybody who buys it than by the team.
I mean,
I'd buy it.
I know you would.
Part of it's
horrible
like,
behavior.
Part of me is just like, I mean, you got to get it. Like, get what you can get, I guess.
No,
like,
it's big poverty team move.
Yeah, but if you have the first overall pick, you're a poverty team. So
okay,
but like there are teams that have the first overall pick and they know they're worth enough to not put out that t-shirt.
Yeah, fair.
Rank these shirts. Conference champs, commemorating a game or series shirt, #1 overall pick shirt.
#1 overall pick shirt, miles below. Like doing the Moneyball thing, there's this, then there's a mile of shit, and then there's this. The #1 overall pick shirt is miles below the shit.
Okay.
Western Conference champs, I will throw up at like, that is the top one, like the most acceptable behavior, especially if it's a team that hasn't done it in a long time. If you want to commemorate that, absolutely no problem with it. And then the like specific game or series type thing, it really hinges on what it is. Like if it's the inaugural game for the Utah Mammoth or the Utah Hockey Club, that's all fine and good. If it's the Alex Ovechkin breaking the Wayne Gretzky's goal record, all well and good. Some things don't necessarily need a commemorative shirt as much as other events.
Like we were in, I don't know if it was the time that we went together or the time I was there by myself, but in the Chargers team store, I remember they had a commemorative shirt for a Monday Night Football game they played.
That's so bad.
And it was like Chargers, Raiders, Monday Night Football. And I was like, oh, I remember that. That was a good game. And I thought about getting the shirt, but I was like,
and this is leaving out the worst part of that story is that we went to the team store and it's a split team store because it's Rams and Chargers. 80% of the store was already Rams, as you can imagine. And 20% of it is Chargers. So you have to have no fat on that 20%. And they had some bad items. You can't do that. You can't fuck around. One of the events that I would absolutely buy a commemorative T-shirt for would be the Corey Perry Nachos goal.
Oh,
if they made a commemorative Corey Perry scored a goal skating through a pile of nachos on the ice T-shirt, I would buy that. Like weird, incredibly novelty items for novelty events. That should be a trend.
So you know that I make fake commemorative shirts. I will absolutely make you that one. That's a great shirt to make. Yeah.
Weird, dumb shit like that. So can we see the shirt? Did you throw it up?
Give us the shirt.
I can't.
He needs his cheaters, but you see that you can see it says lottery, and then there's a 1.
I texted it to you too.
There's so much shit going. Like that's a bad shirt because
they have to distract from how ridiculous it is that they made that shirt. So they cover it they just cake it.
It's one of those shirts that if you're like more than 3 feet away, like I currently am, I have no idea what the fuck that shirt is.
I mean, this definitely strikes me as more of a Fanatic special than an Islanders special.
You know what? When in doubt, blame Fanatics, Sean.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that shirt is a result of Lou not being in charge of the team anymore? Because somebody in the chat said not having Lou on the first overall shirt is a miss. But like I feel like the Islanders are now like newly single and they have this freedom to express themselves in a way that they weren't previously allowed to when they had a ball and chain in Lou. So maybe this is them like their first attempt at spreading their wings. And if so, yikes.
I like Kelly is riding for the shirt, and I appreciate that.
Lottery balls are a nice touch. It is a nice touch. I mean, when that shirt's on sale, maybe one of us will get it. Can the Oilers make Western Conference double champs shirts?
I mean, that's the biggest loser shit of all time.
That would be the ultimate loser shirt.
You can't make you can't make
back-to-back Western.
You can't make a conference champs shirts after you've already lost the ensuing series. That's the big like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they had a small window to do that after.
No, I famously I did that with the Red Sox. I did 2005 ALDS like Red Sox. It had like the Red Sox logo, White Sox logo, and then it just says at the bottom, CWS wins 3-0. Like, series is over. White Sox won.
Series is over, but we were there.
Yeah. Like, hey, let's just commemorate it. People want to commemorate things, folks. Okay, we're going to commemorate this one by saying thank you for watching and make sure you are subscribed absolutely everywhere. It's so nice out. Summer ups make us feel fine. If you subscribe and leave us great reviews on Apple Podcasts, it will make us feel even more fine. The Cody hatchet isn't just buried. There's a mile of shit between us and that hatchet.
Yeah, it's buried but also embraced.
Yeah.
We kissed it and then buried it.
Yes, time capsule.
Also, programming note, we are doing 2 shows this week and next week. 2 regular shows. At least. Monday and Wednesday, both this week and next week. And then other stuff sprinkled in as needed. And it will be as needed because there's going to be a lot that's happening over the next couple of weeks. Do not worry. We will be around. We will be talking about everything that needs talking about. But baseline, we're doing Monday, Wednesday shows this week and next.
and then filling in the rest as it happens,
Yeah.
because this is going to be a crazy time. It's silly season in the NHL. We love you all. Make sure you are subscribed. Did you say amplify yet?
I have not said amplify. So if you can amplify, you can do it by subscribing. You can do it by liking this video, thumbs up button right below the video player. You can also leave a comment. All of that stuff helps us. And then if you're elsewhere on social media, also leave comments, follows, all that good stuff. And then podcasts, we love you too. So don't forget about us. We won't forget about you. 5 stars, nice little review. And in the meantime, everybody enjoy the nice weather. Enjoy your summers. And we will be around, and we can't wait to talk to you again. Bye-bye.
We all silly like the mayor.